At Charleston's glittering Harbor View Hotel, laughter and champagne flowed through the grand charity gala hosted by tech mogul Ethan Mercer, the city's youngest billionaire CEO. His wife, Layla Monroe, radiated quiet grace in an emerald gown. But the evening turned bitter when Darren Cole, her arrogant ex-boyfriend, stumbled toward her, intoxicated and cruel. Mistaking her calm for weakness, he mocked her, then, in a moment of smug cruelty, tossed his champagne across her dress, only to hear a cold voice slice through the silence. "That's enough." Ethan stood there, fury veiled in composure, about to end a humiliation that would soon make national headlines. 3 years earlier, Layla Monroe was just another hardworking waitress at a seaside restaurant called the Blue Pelican. With a graphic design diploma from a community college and a heart full of dreams, she juggled late-night shifts and freelance art gigs to stay afloat. Life was exhausting but filled with quiet determination. She believed that one day her creativity could change her destiny. Then came Darren Cole, charming, ambitious, and freshly promoted in his marketing firm. To Layla, he was the first man who saw her potential. To Darren, she was a project, a woman who adored him enough to believe his every promise. Darren swept Layla into a world she'd only seen from afar. Business dinners, rooftop bars, and elegant events she couldn't afford. For 6 months, Layla believed she'd found love built on respect and shared ambition. He told her she was beautiful even in her work uniform. But cracks appeared once Darren's career began to soar. He started to correct the way she spoke, comment on her clothes, and wince when she mentioned her waitressing job. What once seemed like mentorship turned to mockery. Darren began to view Layla not as a partner, but as a reflection he needed to polish or erase. When Darren invited Layla to his promotion party, she thought it was a sign of commitment. She spent her week's tips on a simple green dress, ready to be by his side with pride. But the moment they entered, Darren introduced her vaguely, never calling her his girlfriend. When she admitted to one of his colleagues that she worked as a waitress, he visibly winced. On the way home, Darren delivered the final blow, "You don't fit in my world." The words echoed like thunder in her chest. That night, Layla cried herself hollow, until tears hardened into resolve. From heartbreak rose hunger. Layla stopped crying and started building. Every dollar she earned went into a future fund. She took online design courses, freelanced for local businesses, and filled her nights with sketches instead of sorrow. Her world shrank to her small apartment, her aging laptop, and her determination to rise. A year later, she launched Layla Monroe Designs, a modest branding studio serving Charleston small businesses. Clients loved her sincerity and attention to detail. With every logo and campaign she created, Layla reclaimed a piece of herself. The girl Darren dismissed had become a woman on a mission. One ordinary Tuesday, Layla received an email from an assistant representing a new client, Harbor Tech Innovations. She arrived at the meeting nervous but prepared, unaware that the man waiting inside the glass-walled office was Ethan Mercer, the company's 32-year-old CEO. Ethan wasn't what she expected. Casual, kind-eyed, and genuinely curious, he listened to her ideas with respect. When she mentioned her humble beginnings, he didn't flinch. He admired her for it. He hired her on the spot, saying, "I don't want perfect work. I want meaningful work. And you get that." For the first time, Layla felt truly seen. As weeks turned into months, their collaboration deepened. Their professional talks lingered over lunch, evolving into shared laughter and late-night emails that had little to do with business. Ethan admired her strength. Layla admired his humility. We finally asked her to dinner, not as a client, but as a man. She said yes. What began as creative synergy bloomed into love. Unlike Darren, Ethan never tried to change her. He lifted her. When he proposed, it wasn't under chandeliers, but in their cozy kitchen, with toast crumbs on the counter and love shining in his eyes. She said yes. Layla and Ethan married in a quiet garden overlooking Charleston Harbor, surrounded by close friends and family. No press, no spectacle, just joy. Layla continued her design business. Ethan ran his company. They shared everything, victories, failures, even bad coffee mornings. Together, they built a world rooted in respect, laughter, and equality. Layla's past with Darren became nothing more than a fading scar, until the charity gala 3 years later, where fate decided to remind her how far she'd come. That night, the ghosts of her past would walk into her present, uninvited. At the gala, Layla looked radiant, standing confidently beside Ethan as guests praised her design work. Then, out of the crowd, Darren appeared, older, smug, and drunk. He mocked her, calling her a waitress who got lucky. When she tried to walk away, he grabbed her arm and flung his drink across her gown. Gasps echoed through the ballroom. But before humiliation could take hold, Ethan's voice thundered across the room. "You just threw wine on my wife." The crowd froze as Ethan revealed who Layla truly was, the designer behind Harbor Tech's billion-dollar division, and Darren's own career unraveled in seconds. As Darren was escorted out, Layla stepped forward. Her voice was calm, but carried the weight of every sleepless night she had endured. "I didn't get lucky," she said. "I worked for everything you thought I'd never earn." The ballroom erupted in applause. That night, clips of her speech flooded social media. The waitress who spoke her truth trended nationwide. Interview requests poured in. Layla's business exploded with new clients, but what mattered most wasn't fame, it was peace. She looked at Ethan and said, "He was wrong. I do belong in a world I built myself."